Oh, hello everyone. I just got a question last night, which is in front of you, which I think I can try to share the answer. And I think the best way really is just to do it via video instead of typing away, and then it's quite hard. There's a lot of information. It's faster this way. So the question is, I'm a little confused about the difference between relative value strategy and pairs trading. Can you please kindly clarify on it? For instance, there is an arbitrage example in page 19, lecture 3 notes. Which type of arbitrage strategy does this example belong to? Thanks in advance. Now, first of all, let's take a look at lecture 3, page 19, which is here. This is page 19 of lecture number 3. Now here it says that a risky arbitrage is you buy an underpriced stock using the capital from short selling a similar stock that is fairly priced. Short sell an overpriced stock, use the capital got from selling to buy a similar stock that is fairly priced. So you long the one you like, you short the one you don't like. Now for a question like this, let me tell you, this is something that you just have to live with, and I have said this to you before many times. In finance, people quite liberally use these terms without too much precision or care, and if you ask 5 people, you might get 3 different answers. So I'm going to try and answer this question generically with my own professional understanding, and also in a way which is consistent with this slide here. Now, first of all, relative value, really, the meaning of that is you are trading 2 things, and you long the one which you think has good value, and you short the one which you think has lesser value. Okay. For example, let me give you something which may clarify. So let's say you like the stock for, well, what's a good example? Let's say Alibaba. Okay. Well, actually, Alibaba is not a good example. Let's say just Apple. Okay, so you like Apple for whatever reason. Maybe you like them because of the dividend yield, or the company prospect, the business expansion, etc. Okay, and you think Apple is actually a good value stock, and it's going to give you a good yield or good return, but you are uncertain about the market direction. Okay, so what you can do is maybe you can buy Apple, all right, and then you can short the overall market. Okay, so the end result when you do that is, let's say if Apple goes up by 7% and the market goes up by 5, okay, then you're going to pick up an extra 2%. But because you are not certain with the market direction, but you might think that, even in the event of a market turning south, going down, Apple is still likely to outperform. So Apple, let's say it drops 3%, but the market drops 6%. Okay, you have to realize that here you will make 2% of return, and in fact here you will make 3%. So you are making money regardless of the market direction, simply because you think that Apple is better value compared to the market, and you are right. Okay, so that's relative value. Now, relative value can be between one stock and then hedging that with the market. You could also do like Apple versus Samsung, and I think here is where there is a confusion between pairs trading, because pairs trading by definition is when you are trading things in pairs, long one, short the other. Okay, but here is when you think something represents good value, and then you try to hedge it with something which may be of a give you a lower quality return. So what is pairs trading? Now, pairs trading, I think, is probably similar to is closer to the example here. And the reason I say this is that in pairs trading, we quite often are taking positions in things that have a higher correlation. For example, it could be Apple versus Samsung, as I said. Okay, or maybe Alibaba versus Amazon, or Bank of China versus ICBC. There are a lot of examples like that, or even BMW versus Mercedes-Benz. Everyone knows these cars. Okay, now the difference, I think one thing about pairs trading is this is quite often the domain of hedge funds, and one possible difference here is in pairs trading, you are actually looking at the long-term relationship between these two underlyings, and you see that for a long time they are moving, sort of in unison, and suddenly there is some kind of divergence, and you expect that gap to close again. Okay, that's one way. Or maybe the other way is, for a long time there is a gap, but the gap is quite wide, so that they move in unison, but suddenly there's the gap is closing, and you expect them to diverge again. Okay, so here you are trading your view on the left hand side is you expect the you expect that there will be divergence. Okay, you expect there will be divergence, and here they have diverged, and you expect there will be convergence. Okay, so quite often when you are doing this in a pairs trading scenario, it actually depends on sort of long-term correlation, and also you are specifically looking for patterns to either repeat themselves, or when things have sort of gone out of sync with each other, and you are betting that the long-term relationship actually will take place again. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. No. So here on the I beg your pardon, on the left hand side, so they were pretty close to each other, and then they fall apart. So you are betting, I beg your pardon, so you are betting that they will converge again. You're betting they will converge. Whereas here, in this part, they were wider apart. Okay, they were wider apart, and suddenly they converge. So you are betting that they might diverge. My apologies. So this is your bet. Okay, this one is your bet is here. Okay, you are betting that this will happen. So pairs trading is, I guess, it's a kind of relative value trade, but it can go either way. And you are looking more at the medium to long-term statistical relationships between two underlyings. Now this could be based on technical analysis, or looking at the numerical pattern of valuation metrics like PE or price to book and so on. Whereas I think the relative value is mostly more sort of fundamentals based. Okay, I don't think you would look at the the correlation as much as you would on a pairs trading, where there's much closer, you look in much finer detail the long-term relationship between two stocks. Okay, I happen to think that the term risky arbitrage itself is a little bit questionable, because if something truly can be arbitrage, by definition it is a riskless. The definition is an arbitrage is a riskless transaction that can yield you a non-negative return. So sometimes it's zero, sometimes it's positive, and it doesn't require any financing. So you basically you get something from nothing, which doesn't happen a lot in life, except when you see the magic shows. All right, so I hope that is helpful. Just a brief response on this. All right. Thank you very much. Take care.